Well, guys, and welcome back. We have game number 2 between Infamous and Tempest. Exciting. Well, excited for Tempest. Maybe Infamous not so excited. Infamous, if anything, they're feeling the pressure. What will they do? RDO, what do you think would be a good support this game? Juggernaut, Gyrocopter, what are your thoughts?
I feel like someone has to pick a CK4 so the game gets balanced again.
Right, Tempest has to do it. They have to go back with their classic strat. I like it. I like it. I'm hoping. What was the opener last time? Do you guys remember for Infamous? Was it Sanking
It
Mirana?
was Visage first pick for Tempest. Yeah, then
Okay.
Mirana Sinking.
Alright. Can we do the Visage first pick again? Did you like that idea, Sexy Fat?
Yeah, I did like, but I want to see Visage offlane with a melee support for preference, if it's possible.
Okay, they go for Dawnbreaker first. They're like, you know what? This Visage is crap. We should just pick Dawnbreaker instead. They work out nicely though. They played a pretty nice Dawnbreaker. It is kind of Drakil's pool of heroes of lane dominators.
Oh no! You play against Infamous, you're playing against Oscar, and you don't ban his Timbersaw. What the heck?
No.
It's first phase.
Can they deal with it though?
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
maybe they have something to do with it. Maybe Invoker, Sebas. It's really good pick against Timber.
What are the best picks, or what do you hate playing against? You're playing Timber, Sexy Fat. What are the worst picks?
Invoker, Bad Rider, and let me think one more. Are there any ideas?
Any
No
laning
sé.
picks?
No sé, my amigo.
Monkey. For laning, Monkey. Monkey's really good against Timber.
Yeah, but then the mid game, Timber is pretty good against Monkey, no?
Yeah. Just on lane, for laning stage. I mean, it depends. If you feed this Monkey on lane, it's gonna be good all game. But if you don't, just skip waves and stuff, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I think Oscar won't feed. I'm pretty sure this guy knows his Timber. They also combine it with a Mirana, so they have a rotating support, which opens up things like Ember, for example, for the mid lane, Kunkka as well. You really like the 8th pick Rubik, man.
I wonder why. I keep asking myself if they flex this Rubik some role, like first and mid.
They haven't done it in DPC, but they could, maybe. It's just weird. I like to pick a support that's like not that impactful on the 8th, and especially with Timber, Mirana. What do you steal here? Timber Chain?
I mean,
all Timber spells are good for Rubik because it does a lot of damage.
Is it good enough to justify the pick though?
I don't really like it again because it's just a random Rubik. You can pick a Rubik whenever you want because he'll just steal spells, right? There's not really a counter for the hero. But I feel like Tempest has to ban Bane. They don't ban Bane, they're gonna lose. Yeah, it's
why?
Because it's gonna be a Bane Mirana support duo, and Timbersaw is a hero that can solo, so Mirana is gonna have a high impact mid, and she can also TP on safe lane, and Bane sweeps the target, arrow, free kill.
No, that's actually a very good point. Do you think they should get rid of Kunkka or Ember as well?
They should get rid of both Kunkka and Bane.
Kunkka and Bane. Okay, they get rid of Monkey King instead. Well, why?
They lost.
GG, I guess. Why the Monkey King? Do they confuse the drafts?
Because they wanna
the ones looking for this monkey, right?
They wanna play
exactly.
Dawnbreaker offlane, I think. They're already preparing for the Dawnbreaker Rubik lane.
Does she lose to the Monkey King?
I actually never played this matchup, so I don't really know. But Monkey should be okay, right? Because it has the passive, so it has the lifesteal. He can sustain throughout the lane, and it's not gonna feed like a usual Terrorblade or whatever.
Have you tried it, Sexy Fat? Because I thought Dawnbreaker pretty much doesn't lose any matchups.
Actually, I haven't played Dawnbreaker at all, so I don't know.
Really? I thought she would be really up your alley, man. I thought she'd be like perfect for you.
Nowadays, I'm more like into a Puck or a Void Spirit, playing mid.
Oh, you're playing mid.
Stopping noobs, yeah.
Oh, okay. No more Radiance Monkey King then. I'm gonna miss that.
No. Only Puck Radiance from now on.
A real classic. All right, RDO, do you like the Bane here, or do they pick the mid laner first?
Yes, they picked Bane on 15 and Kunkka on 18, and
Perfect.
easy game.
Easy game. There you go. RDO calls it. Let's see. Oh, why? I mean, this can act as a Bane, right? It just kind of worked in some way.
Yeah, you can cog, you can set up for arrows. It can work.
Yeah. Hook shot. You know, you have it's like a Fiend script, but smaller. If you're Tempest, though, what are the picks here? What are the positions you want to reveal? Or 16, 17?
I suppose you pick like Treant plus Void Spirit.
Do you just always suggest Treant for them, even though they don't have a Zoo?
I mean, I don't understand why they're not picking Treant, man. The first day you talk with Wu, he was like, "Oh no, Treant's the best hero of Dota. I'm winning all games, blah blah blah." Then they win the whole series of Treant, and they never pick it again.
Yeah. All right. You know what sucks is that Tempest, either they lose or they don't show up to the interview, so we never got to ask him again what happens. So we'll never know, man. They do pick up Bloodseeker instead, which is going to be their response to the Timbersaw. How does that feel, Sexy Fat? Do you think Bloodseeker's pretty good against Timbersaw, or can you ignore him?
Yeah, he feels way better because he's gonna dominate the lane since from the start, and then you're gonna cut waves, get 6 with plus stun, you're dead. You're not able to cut that wave that simple against Bloodseeker.
Yeah. They combine this with the Pango as well, one other good hero against Timber in general, hard hero to gank with the Mirana. But what's interesting about this is that once again, Tempest is obsessed with flexing the 3 and the 5, so the Dawnbreaker can play either position, and they're like, "Oh, we got you there."
No, you don't know about this Pango. He can go support for also, right?
Oh, it's true. And then what? Rubik mid? Yeah, we finally get it what we asked for, huh?
It's always time for innovation for Tempest.
RDO would love that. I know he's a big fan. Actually, against Squap, no joke, Sexy Fat, I think Rubik mid is not that bad. Rubik destroys Squap mid. It's actually one of the best matchups for Rubik mid.
Yeah, I don't know about Rubik, but I know Pango's gonna have a hard time against this puck if he goes mid.
Yep.
Against Queen Amy.
Why the Quap? Is it just to counter Pango in lane, you think?
Not a Quap expert, but yeah, it really fucks with Pango.
Thank you.
But he's playing against Rupture. If I'm not mistaken, you can dodge the blink damage on Rupture, right? With Quap.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you get the high range blink.
It has to be the maximum range, though. If you mess up a little bit, then you take full damage.
Quap's also fine against Bloodseeker, because theoretically, Quap's gonna win the mid lane against Pango, and as I've said before, Bloodseeker is a hero that wants to extend his laning phase so he can farm more and just kill the enemy offlaner, but once the Quap gets like level 6 plus a rune, and she goes on Bloodseeker lane, Bloodseeker just have to leave, you know? So I kind of like the pick. I feel like it's too greedy, though.
Okay. What do you mean?
It's a hero to win a matchup on mid lane. It doesn't give you anything besides damage. I don't know. I don't like this Quap hero. I feel like it's a very strong pub hero, but not a good competitive hero. That's why I don't really see this hero too much.
Do you not like it as well? Because Timbersaw does something similar as well. Like you just have a bunch of damage on your cores.
Yeah,
not really much team fight.
In the end, Quap and Timber does the same thing. But Timber is stronger because he's frontline. He tanks tower and stuff. But Quap is just a scream.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. She brings the silence later on in the game. That's the big contribution she has to team fights. And now we'll see Tempest. Will they continue to flex this Dawnbreaker? What other heroes can be played as 5 and as 3?
CK. It's CK flex time. Let's go, guys.
Stop, RDO. The CK is not happening, please. Okay, they're going to do something normal this time. Double Rupture?
Really good against the Squap. Like the ultimate on green can just get her, stop her from blinking. They have the Inkswell to burst this Timbersaw if they make an attempt to kill it. Double Rupture.
Yeah. Double Lift, double Fate Ball, actually not bad.
True. Double Diffusal Blade.
Oh, that's the big
You
one.
gotta count everything you have, always.
That's genius. What are the carry options here, RDO, for Infamous? What do you think Parker should play here?
There's Void. Void's good.
Void's banned.
against... Oh, Void's banned.
Yeah.
Both of
Let me
voids are
open
banned.
the carry pool. Is CK not banned? CK is good.
There we go. Wow, he literally
Whoa.
had one guess.
On point. Pattern.
Actually,
Good job.
guys, cancel it. CK is not good. CK against Pango is so bad for Pango. It's so
Yeah.
bad for
Stop.
CK.
You guessed it. Don't do this to yourself. You did so well. Let it go. Do you actually believe though there's going to be a bad matchup for the CK? Do you think Tempest has an edge because of the Pango?
Yes.
Or does Queen of Pain
Yeah,
mitigate that?
If Pango gets to farm like Diffusal plus eggs, the CK will not be able to play the game. So hard
Okay.
for CK.
RDO, does this mean Tempest for game 2 as well?
Oh my. I actually forgot the drafts, man. I'll go with who
Wait.
has the Bloodseeker?
There
Nice,
we go. The
nice.
draft's on
I'll
the
go
screen.
with the Tempest. Yes, let's go Tempest.
Okay. Thank you, producer. Sexy Fat, what about you? What do you think?
I'll go Tempest too, but I think if Infamous realize Quap is the position 1 this game and not the CK, they have a pretty good chance to win.
Interesting. So, okay, since we have a little more time, can you explain that? What do you mean with that?
I think the CK, the illusions of CK is not gonna work this game because it's playing against a lot of AoE. So I think it's not gonna be the position 1 that truly gonna give damage. It's gonna be the Quap. So she can
Okay.
scale, and they have low resources to really kill her on the game if she has items, of course. So yeah, I think that's why the reason she's the position 1 this game and not the CK.
Interesting. Let's see if they do realize that, or if Tempest will complete our panel's predictions and get the 2-0. Thus, them not doing much for themselves, honestly, except for avoiding relegation. But the best thing about South America is that the real satisfaction comes when you take the major qualification from another team, and that's exactly what Tempest is going for today. RDO is nodding. He knows. Let's see what our cats have to say about this game. Gareth, Bowie, take it away.
Yeah, time to steal some points. Time to get out the ladder in the DPC as we've got game 2 between Infamous and Tempest. Now, Bowie, it sounds like the panel pretty hardcore fanboying over Tempest in their draft here. Sell me on the Infamous draft. Sell me on the Oscar Timbersaw.
I mean, Timbersaw against one strength hero. So yeah, that is good. I don't know, man. This Quap hero, I'm not a big fan. I also feel like Alone has been underperforming a little bit, and just giving this Quap a hero that's not meta, a hero that is not particularly too good this game. It wins the lane, but it deals with the Bloodseeker. But I don't know. I really struggle with this Quap hero. I love it. It's one of my favorite heroes. But I really agree with what the panel kind of talked about. It feels like it's a good club hero, but then in these competitive matches, it kind of gets outclassed. It never feels like you have enough damage. The nerfs that came with the patch. If I really hope Alone can sell me on this hero, because I would love to be able to play it in my games. Yeah, it's I don't like it too much. This last pick felt underwhelming. Like, it's not a bad CK game, but it's also not an amazing CK game.
Yeah, I mean, Quap is kind of one of those heroes. I remember, Juggernaut a year ago. You always think of these heroes, like Shadow Fiend is another one where you always feel like you're an item behind, right? You need another item to really accomplish what you want to be doing. And it's something Sexy Fat brought up on the panel where he believes that the Queen of Pain should be the position 1 this game, offering the most damage and should be getting farm priority. Is that something you see happening? Because Parker is on Infamous.
Exactly. I feel like, if we had a Matumba Man sort of player, if we had someone that was a little bit more selfless, that could definitely be true and work. But it is a Parker game, man. And, what I actually feel like is the wild card this game is this Mirana. So, actually, I don't remember if it was RDO or Sexy Fat that talked about having heroes where the Mirana can rotate middle and bottom. This Quap doesn't have a stun, but they do have 2 stuns with the Clockwork and the CK. Mirana really needs to play with those heroes, and if they can snowball out of these early kills, that's the way they win this game. I think they have to stomp the lanes, and they cannot let it go like it happened in game 1.
Super hard when you're playing into like Grimstroke, Inkswell, Telekinesis from the Rubik. And I'm even realizing that with his Telekinesis on Rubik, he's even better against Clockwork than he used to be because of the shard, right? You can move people out of the cogs whenever you need to.
Yeah, that was a little odd, picking Clockwork into Rubik. Usually you see Rubik as a response to the Clockwork. And in this case, they actually 15 picked it into that Rubik. But, it's a stun. It is a strong melee support 5 that's going to tank a lot of damage for Parker. And it does give them a little bit of vision. I think, it definitely allows the Cop to play a little bit more aggressive.
And it's not a Sven.
And it is not a Sven, indeed. Oh, God. I mean, the Sven
fine.
performance was fine, but it definitely, later on, it didn't scale as much as they would like. There was no blink on him as well, so he was playing very reactive and not very proactive like Clockwork can actually do.
Well, a lot of focus is going to be on this Oscar Timbersaw. Of course, one of his real signature heroes being allowed into the draft, which is very often first phase banned. He is against a Bloodseeker and a Grimstroke, though. And Grimstroke, another one of those heroes that we've seen time and time again, against Timbersaw in particular, just Phantom's Embrace screws him over when he's got a Chakram out. Can be a problem for you. And of course, Bloodseeker, anti-hero, doesn't really care too much about you whirling death.
One thing that I liked from the Infamous draft that we didn't talk about is you have 2 cores that actually have inbuilt sustain. So there's a couple of games where it feels like Bloodseeker just goes way too ham in the laning stage because everyone's kind of low HP. But it is not a game where these scores are going to be too low, and so I don't feel like Kotaro will have this crazy early laning stage out of the other lanes, bleeding in terms of HP.
Yeah, the first one, Reactive Armor, of course, and the second one you're talking about is Chaos Strike, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mirana also in a winning lane, so you don't expect that much harass coming from the Pangolier. So this might be a game where Kotaro doesn't really snowball out of kills. He could actually even be in trouble if we see a Clockwork rotation later on, or the Quap, as RDO, I think, talked about the concept of the Bloodseeker kind of delaying getting out of the lane. And that's when the Quap could show up and even get a kill on him.
Well, Affliction trying to make this lane difficult for Draken. Does get a good Battery Assault on that Dawnbreaker and giving CK the free farm that he desires. This is down to Sladin, leaving the lane, grabbing the Water Rune bottom, and only rejoining now. And Michael's also toying with him up top, holding a couple of leap charges. Trying to make sure the pulls and stacks are being stopped as best he can. Where do you expect First Blood to come in this game? Because you're talking about the sustain. It seems pretty difficult to really latch onto someone and finish them off. Is it going to be mid?
I actually, this might be one of the first times this year that I say it could be mid. I think you're right. Can definitely be there, or could be top if they find a Mirana with the Phantom's Embrace plus Inkswell on the Bloodseeker. But that kind of relies on Ketsu getting a little bit more levels.
It definitely feels like it's going to come down to a misstep from someone. Oscar doesn't feel too pressured top. He's hit level 3, so he's got a second point in the reactive armor. Tempest pretty low on the mana pools now. It looks like 3 mangoes on the Grimstroke will give him a burst of regen if they want to play aggressively. And this arrow onto Bloodseeker absolutely requires defensive measures from Katyu. Becoming a very annoying lane. And this is where Michael can start thinking about rotating, like you and RDO were talking about, moving into some of these other lanes to find the action. You've got yourself level 3. Your Timbersaw's pretty happy. Maybe just swing down bot.
Yeah. He might actually... Yeah, oh, there you go. That's really good. They're going to steal the Water Rune. And with this Brana connecting, they could kill Sabas, actually.
He's got 2 stick and a Fairy Fire. Arrow. Oh, he tried the push into Arrow. Not quite there. And the Fairy Fire keeps him alive against the Starstorm. But Michael leaps under tower and finds that first blood. And it is in the mid lane, but it comes down to 2 support rotations.
I was technically right. Come on.
Yeah, the Pango was the one to die.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was kind of expected. The panel talked about this laning being a little bit rough for Pangolier. But this is also a game where he can shine later on. So it's all, I guess, in a way, it's very similar to game 1 for Tempest, where it's about damage control. Just don't lose too hard. And they should get into this scenario where after second Roche and all of that, they'll be really strong. So far, it is a pretty decent gold advantage. All of the cores on Infamous actually doing really well in terms of CS.
Yeah, Tempest getting out farmed in every lane. And on that Pango point, I guess his first item's relatively cheap, right? Diffuser Blade, we expect to come out after the boots. I am curious, the panel mentioned the Aghanim Scepter. I do want to see what he decides after Diff Blade, because we've seen a lot of options, the Blink, the Ewells. Aghanim's very often a kind of a third or fourth item to come after that.
I wouldn't mind Blink this game, because they actually don't have any initiation, and the Inkswell with that Blink could be really potent on Sebas with his Rolling Thunder. But if he's having a really good game, Ags is insane, for sure.
Man, this CK is farming like a monster. I was looking at the CS and he's got 35 last hits, he's top of the board, but 2,700 net worth. He's created a 500 net worth gap between him and his counterpart, the Bloodseeker. Looks like he's ditched that bottom lane, trying to farm jungle now. Slardin keeping tabs on him with an observer board or two down near that bottom rune spot.
One thing I saw yesterday, actually, when it was a Bristol back playing against the Timber, he actually was playing Dire, and he was in between the Radiant Tier 1 and Tier 2, just cutting the waves. And I think this is something we could maybe see Kotaro do. The problem is he's against this roaming Mirana, so there's definitely ways for them to connect. There's a lot of mobility. But once you get to the level 5 and 6 on Timbersaw, even with sustain, this Bloodseeker could struggle. So, where is his place in the map right now?
Yeah, it becomes pretty much unlaneable. And you can't pressure the Timbersaw with stick raindrops and level 3 reactive armor. He is a tank. He is the tank.
He really is.
Sebas? Thinking about the Rolling Thunder, did a great amount of damage with a swashbuckle, but alone has that regen rune bottled and ready to use. And there's a kill on Catyu from Oscar. Diving under tower. Forcing Kotaro back. Started off with a Michael arrow. And there you see, like you were talking about, right? Kataro's really wondering, where should I be? I can clear this next wave coming into tower, but after that, I probably want to get out of here. As down in that dire triangle, Affliction wandered into the wrong neighborhood, found Sebas with his Rolling Thunder.
And this is a really tough spot for Kotaro to be in. He realizes how important it is to defend this tower, but he's not in a position where he really wants to be jungling.
And Kataro's dying.
He's just dead.
He's straight up dead. They tried the Solar Guardian. Dawnbreaker will land, but now Oscar potentially has another kill laid out in front of him. And Draken snap TPs back down bottom. A telekinesis into Hammer. Draken and Slardin doing some good damage onto Parker. He's a tanky boy though. That's CK.
Yeah, this is a really tough game for this Bloodseeker, because as I said, usually you could be cutting the wave as the Timbersaw is cutting the wave as Bloodseeker, but there's too much mobility on Infamous to actually chase you down, so you can't rely on a move like that. And he might be dead again here, or at least waste his Rupture.
Yeah, maybe they can kill the Mirana before she gets away. Phantom's Embrace killed, but stunned by the Inkswell. Oscar, what can he get done here? He's incredibly strong. Pops the Soul Ring, kills one. He's going to heal basically back up to full under this tower anyway.
Okay.
Kind of a weird game, honestly, but great for Infamous. Finding themselves in a good spot now with all their 3 cores up at the top, and Alone is even stealing out stacks. Queen of Pain with a DD rune. Taking away large and medium camps.
I mean, Gareth, this is a 3k goal lead at 9 minutes. This is not something you see every day, but that is the recipe for Infamous success. They really need this. So as long as they don't make a lot of mistakes, now I can see them taking this game.
I mean, Clockwork just TP'd out in front of Pango and Rubik. The lack of instant stuns there, or catch potential from Tempest becoming apparent. The only real guaranteed stun they have is Telekinesis. They have Inkswell, Rolling Thunder, Dawnbreaker with that Starbreaker. Sure, they're there, but they need setup in some way.
Okay, so Kotaro finally TP's bottom. He gives up on that top lane. Pretty similar move to what he did, actually. He did join
Whew.
his early fights.
I mean, Parker just comes in and farms enemy triangle, gets a kill on Catch-U, but fortunately for Tempest, they are all there. Now, that's a big ticket kill that they desperately needed. CK dead for 30. His armlet was just delivered. But Draken getting turned on. Celestial Hammer back up to the high ground. They've got the blood right onto Affliction. Alone jumps in with a Sonic Wave and Scream. Katara is still alive, though, until Oscar comes in. Two-man chain. Slap him with a Whirling Death. The Rolling Thunder will do nothing whatsoever. Slardin, Catch-U, dived under tower by this Timbersaw. A terrifying presence as he takes out the Rubik. Can't find the Grimstroke, though, but a huge move from Infamous, even though it looked a little bit wonky, losing their CK so early.
And speaking of that CK, if production can click on him, he has a very fascinating item build ahead.
Oh,
apparently.
God, what is that?
I hope that death didn't really affect his mood, but
no,
it might have.
We saw... was it him? We saw this from him before, I'm sure. Like, we know about the Blitz Knuckles build, right? Where we've seen Yuma, Parker, a bunch of other CKs get Blitz Knuckles and kind of keep it until later. I think it was Parker playing CK where he bought a Hyperstone, trying to... so he bought a Hyperstone trying to build a Moonshard early. Then he started losing the game and realized, I need a BKB.
Mm-hmm. Dude, he's so famous for that. Like, I remember a game as Void where he went, like, Maelstrom, he had BKB queued up, he wins a fight, buys Ayasha, then loses 3 fights in a row, and he never finishes BKB, lost the game. So, he's really the king of, like, trying to min-max based on situations. So, I do hope we don't see a Hyperstone or... I mean, the Hyperstone is fine, but actually getting a Moonshard this early could be problematic. I think this is a game where he needs that early BKB, but Kotaro here actually taking a beating from him.
Yeah, he's got the backup, though. They've lost their Queen of Pain and now looking like they're going to lose Parker as well. He can't chase down the Bloodseeker anymore. Michael arrives with an Arrow Star Storm, but Parker's still stuck here in behind towers. Gets off the armlet toggle, Phantasm as well, but Parker, how many toggles can you get off in this? Is it enough? The Inkswell and the Embrace will clear him out. Draken gets the kill, and Parker... a step too far forward. Michael has no leap charges left either. Bloodright and chase down. Sebas dead to Axel in the mid lane, but I can't catch any more top. While Catch-U also falling by that mid tier 1.
Usually I would say these 2 Parker deaths were pretty bad, but it feels like everyone else is farming so much and everyone on Tempest is occupied killing Parker that they're not getting enough out of those kills, because it's like 4 heroes killing the CK, whilst the other 4 heroes in Infamous are also getting kills and farming.
Yeah, we have a pretty poor Pango. 4,000 net worth. Doesn't have Diffusal Blade yet, which is one of those key items against the 3 cores of the Radiant team. Bloodseeker just gets his Maelstrom delivered now. They definitely feel behind.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this Pangolier was picked at 16, so it was a response to the clock. Usually you don't see mid-Pangos being picked this early, and this might really be the problem, because they did have the means of responding to it in the second phase, because I believe the last pick in the second phase from Tempest was the Bloodseeker. I think
they picked Bloodseeker, which covered the Pango. Pango was their 4th pick.
Oh, really? Okay, okay. Then
I'm pretty sure, because I remember thinking, oh, that's a nice little move. They've taken the Bloodseeker so they can't pick it against them. But Kataro, jeez, inside the cogs, the whirling chakram doing a lot. But he's no way. No, he can't be allowed to escape. Alone, make sure of that. And now Catch-U and Slardin, they are trapped down here without a prayer. Alone, Oscar just slicing through them. Catch-U goes for the TP home, but they've already lost so much down there. While in the bottom rune spot, Sebas and Draken getting toyed with by Michael having this Yule Scepter. Trying to set up arrows for himself.
Well, I just want to say that Parker bought the first Hyperstone.
Nice.
So he is stacking very fast at the moment. Whether he's going to go BKB before that Moonshard remains to be seen. But this is still like really good for Infamous. He died a couple of times, but like they have total map control. Tier 1 bottom from Infamous still like very healthy. Mid tier 1 super healthy. As long as they don't really take the foot off the gas, as long as all of the Roshan's, the first Roshan's are theirs, they have really good odds in this game. Like Spangolier is a non-factor. Their highest net worth here is actually the Dawnbreaker, which honestly I don't see her doing too much before BKB, and she is long ways away.
Yeah, very distant. Let's just quickly back onto this Moonshard Hyperstone business. It's not, he's not griefing. It's not a meme. As the panel and you've been saying, his illusions are going to get dealt with, right? The illusions are going to die to Pango, Bloodseeker, Dawnbreaker, whoever's around. So he's buffing up his primary hero, getting the most out of his Chaos Strike, his ability to do damage, rather than buffing his illusions, which we usually see with the stats builds on the Chaos Knights.
For sure. Moonshard is the highest DPS item by a pretty long margin in a lot of the heroes. So, it's not necessarily... It's a good item. It's just that usually you see the Blitz Knuckles as that attack speed buffer into BKB. But this game, because they are this far ahead, it's probably okay to go for the Moonshard.
It's the same as we saw from Tiny, right? Tiny had that kind of evolution.
Yes.
Echo Saber, Silver Edge, all that stuff, and it's like, wait, I can just buy Moonshard, right? Double Shard, and I'm very, very strong. Oh,
yeah,
Michael.
It's a strength here that doesn't use a lot of mana.
Gets lifted before he can arrow. Dusted. Sentry down. But Michael's Mirana gets away with a leap. They were also attempting something up in the top lane, but Tempest yet again showing how good they are at dodging fights and playing defensively, giving Kataro quite a lot of room to continue his own farm.
To finish that Maelstrom. He's now recovering a little bit, but still, like, he is getting very, very outfarmed. A big part of that is the lack of towers, and so, like, lack of map for all of these heroes on Tempest to recover. But a fight is brewing here.
Oh, the Sonic Wave kills the Rubik, pushes Sebas back. Michael's killed Katyu as well. Affliction with that hook shot. Cog's trapped Draken, quickly moves over with the Celestial Hammer. We're now caught. The Chakram, the Yules, and dead before he can even kill off Michael's Mirana. So another swift move there from Infamous, controlling the map. A little bit different from the previous game where we really saw Tempest avoid every single team fight and find places for them to play into.
Yeah, like in that game, you had this Juggernaut that had like literally a free lane, right? We saw the Sand King kind of cutting waves at level 4. So he got this like 9-minute Maelstrom. This really allowed the Jugger to grow a lot. This time, I don't think this Bloodseeker versus CK is that good of a matchup for Tempest. And on top of that, it was not a free lane. The Timbersaw was bullying him quite a bit. So, you have the odd stack twice against poor Kotaro this time.
They've caught the Grimstroke again. And just made to look so easy by Infamous when they find someone that is overstepping their bounds. Kataro killing off Sentry's bottom so he can unblock the large camp. Alone's going to leave him be for now.
By the way, yeah, I do like what Parker did here, just getting the BKB before the full Moonshard. I think that's probably the best way for him to approach this, because at the end of the day, even though he's having a really good game, I still feel like they shouldn't really delay this game too much. So, just force rush with the BKB up, and they'll probably good to go here in Infamous.
Yeah, and if they can keep hunting people down like Sebas Pango, so close to dying. I don't know, that Rocket Flare gives vision. He dodges the Scream with a nice little roll-up, back in with a Thunder, and a Soulbind catching Quap and Mirana. In comes Draken with a Dawnbreaker slapping. Alone turns with a dagger back in towards them. Solar Guardian getting cancelled out by the Battery Assault of Affliction, but Queen of Pain's very nearly dead. In comes Kataro, clears her up, and my goodness, how quickly the tables turn. Tempest fighting from low ground to high ground, defending their low HP Pango, win a fight without a single casualty.
Yeah, that was... They were a little bit too greedy. Like, there was no need for them to chase the Pangolier pretty much in the enemy base. And a really good bait. The shard purchase here on the Pangolier after the Diffusal Blade was clutch. It allowed him to dispel the effects of the Poison Dagger and even get the rolling afterwards. Really, really good fight. The CK was showing top. They knew they had the numbers. So a little bit of an overextension from Infamous. And, that's pretty much how Tempest kind of came back game 1. So Infamous, they have to be careful. They can afford a couple of mistakes, but not a lot of them.
Yes, especially if one of these mistakes leads to Tempest stealing Roshan, right? Because for all intents and purposes, this Roshan belongs to Infamous. It is rightfully theirs, and they will move into the pit for it. Do we expect Tempest to go and fight them, or is this something you just let them have and kind of, okay, agree that they will take tier 2s?
I think you have to give it away. They did spend a lot of their resources in that fight. But, you know, it's not like Infamous, they have like the easiest way to go high ground. They had a Luna in game 1. This time it's a CK. So the CK, sure, he can farm a lot, but he doesn't translate that net worth into map control as easily as a Luna does. So that is really going to be the challenge, going past tier 2s into high ground. That's when we could see Tempest. They actually have a really good high ground defense, right? The Grim, Soulbind with Rolling Thunder, Rubik, Bloodright. It's not easy to breach their defenses.
Yeah, absolutely not. Even with like a tanky Timbersaw frontlining. Oscar has had a pretty perfect game so far. 6-0, 7. Not a death to his name yet. It's one of those interesting games where it doesn't feel like Tempest has any way of dealing with him. There's no Spirit Vessel, there's no Shivers, there's no Scardy, there's no burst damage. They've got Phantom's Embrace to silence him, but do they just have to ignore him like the rest of the game? Oh, Draken. Initiated on by the Queen of Pain. Sebas here to back up his buddy. So out goes the Dawnbreaker, while Affliction, he gets a hookshot onto Bloodseeker. Not sure what he's doing here with that backup. It is starting to arrive now. Filtering in is Oscar. Trying to catch that slot in, while Michael has killed off Sebas in the mid lane. The Mirana just solo killed the Pango. How did that happen?
It was a really weird move. Like, Alone actually blinked in the midst of the mid lane, and they had the Pango and Rubik kind of hiding in the trees. Sorry, the Pango and the Dawnbreaker. And they felt, okay, Alone's blink is on cooldown, we could maybe kill him, but they missed all of their spells. And then, you know, with the double damage on Alone, he just turns on them, and they end up losing 2 heroes. Rubik shows up to help, also dies. Kind of a little bit of a disaster here. That's going to be some extra tier 2s, which, you know, Tempest, they knew they were going to lose with the Aegis on Infamous, but bleeding kills on top of that is really the problem.
Yeah, maybe they thought they could get that one kill, delays the Aegis push. Makes Infamous feel a little bit afraid of what they're doing. But now 2 tier 2s down, outpost grabbed. And the map gets ever smaller for Tempest.
Kotaro did finish his BKB, has the level 15 talent. So he's starting to actually become a nuisance. The real problem for him is target prioritization here. Who do you actually go for? The Quap can blink out of your Rupture if she plays it well. You know, the Timbersaw is giga tanky and has a Lotus Orb. So he kind of has to rely on going on supports. For the highest net worth hero on the side of Tempest, this is not good prospects, but it's probably the best they have right now.
Well, yeah, they're lifting the CK and trying to do a bit of damage to him. Still has 2 minutes on Aegis, and he's going to Phantasm to go for the Bloodseeker. Solar Guardian, in comes the Soulbind. Timbersaw is dying. Oh, the Bloodseeker does a lot of damage. Draken clears out Oscar. Now Parker, he's popped his BKB and trying to fight, but I don't know. This Tempest side, they've just met them and matched them.
Olin.
They do steal the Sonic Wave, but Parker, he's got to contend with this. Bloodseeker's running around at max move speed. He's got 700 move speed, this Bloodseeker. Sprinting back away from Alone. Silence. Clip him with a Stroke of Fate. Try and stun him with a Starbreaker as well, but they're all lacking damage to flow through from the control that they had to begin with. So Draken now dead. But the Aegis claimed, and Cat-Yu, he will lose his life under his own tier 2 there, but a real weird one.
Yeah, it was definitely weird. They didn't actually see the intro being cast on the Bloodseeker in the fog. So the Timbersaw comes in, and he gets stunned. He has like the Lotus Orb, feels pretty safe. And that's how they got the first kill. But still, the net worth advantage there just showcases how difficult these fights are for Tempest. Even though like they start by killing one of the tankiest heroes in Infamous, they still struggled with even killing Alone right now.
I mean, honestly, they got Aegis, they killed Timbersaw. Next fight should theoretically be easier for them. In the middle of that fight, I had to click on the Bloodseeker to see if he had Shard, because he did so much damage. As Alone, is forced to BKB over on the dire triangle side of the map. Blinks aggressively under tower, but the blink stolen by Slardin gets him out to safety. And now Alone is wide open, has the blink ready, but the chain stuns could come. Alone so close to death. They use the Dawnbreaker now and try and slow down the advance of the Bloodseeker. Great hook shot from Affliction, but gives his life to save the Quap. Timber hiding down in the trees. Wait, Parker? Why has he walked into this one? The Timber saw Silent Star. Parker, I'm not toggling, but he's dead. I have no idea what the CK thought he was doing arriving to that fight way too late. Gonna lose Oscar as well at this rate. Down goes the Timber Saw and Tempest back in it. What was Parker doing?
That was just a really bad call. They saw the co-op TPing. There was literally no reason for Parker to join that fight. You can see how strong he is, but he's still only one hero fighting 4 heroes. He gets disarmed, he gets stunned, and at the end of the day, I mean, it really feels like game 1. They had everything they needed. They had the net worth advantage. They get first Roche. They take the outer towers. But they are making some unnecessary mistakes. And if Tempest plays this well, they could abuse those.
Yeah, it feels like quite often this happens. In 25, 30 minutes, there's always this moment in these games where you really do wonder what the calls are and what's actually happening on the team comms. Late game decision making feels like there's a pretty big gap between some of the squads. A lot of screaming, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't feel like a clean game from Parker. I think like when I watched his Tour 2 and the first games of Tour 3, he had some impeccable games, like 0 deaths, always at the right place, the right time. I didn't really feel like this game. Like, sure, the first 2 deaths, you could say, they're winning by so much. He's just clowning around. But as a carry, like, your job to carry the game at the end of the day, and these unnecessary deaths could just allow Kotaro to come back into this game. Dota is such a cumulative sort of game where, 3 deaths, it's a lot, man. We'll see if this smoke... Ooh, look at that, that's a good positioning from Tempest.
Yeah, they're on that staircase. Oh, arrow. What? They find Slardin. They're going to jump in on him. Rubik dead. They do catch you as well. Both supports gone, and Draken has to BKB and run. The initiation was too powerful from Infamous, while Sebas... He gets off his Rolling Thunder, but he's trapped. He's trying to roll down and crash to the low ground. Maybe he can slip away from this. Parker looking for it. Alone's looking for it. He does get the blink to the high ground. Doesn't have the shield crash ready for another 4 seconds. So very thankful that nobody hit him.
Right, look at the cast range of Rubik's Chaos Bolt. It's so big.
That's pretty nice.
And Transmoke. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they could catch this Quap with no BKB.
She's got so many people around her, though. Affliction has hookshot ready again. If they see someone, they're probably going on him. But Dire has that one observer ward up on the high ground that sees everything. Not being dewarded yet.
Have really good vision, and that's a problem Infamous is having.
Yeah.
They're not rewarding the areas they're occupying.
Mirana yules herself, leaps, but dies. And CK did use his Phantasm. Wanted to try and turn that around, but again, it's this perfect vision that the Dire sees literally everybody. They know.
Infamous defense, actually, check the sentry on the river there from Infamous. It is right on the edge of that Dire ward.
Well, that's a bad sentry then, isn't it?
Bloodseeker, yes.
He's got the Rupture on the Quap. She's soulbound, so she can't do anything. Just dies there in the midst of everybody. BKB for the CK gets him out safely, but if you look at the timer in the bottom left screen, there's a couple of seconds until someone respawns. So with Quap down for 60, the outpost reclaimed. If they poke their heads around the corner of the pit, they're going to be met by a beautiful, tasty prize. But they don't.
Okay. Even still, like, just the fact that they are starting to win these small engagements, they know Roche is spawning. It's really more about denying Infamous Roshan than really taking it for themselves. It's not like they're going to get that Aegis and like the game's going to end. It's just about delaying. CK is a hero that really struggles with high ground. You cannot... Oh, okay.
A couple of hits, and Grimstroke dead. But Parker getting opened up on now by Sebas, by Draken. CK, half HP, has no BKB, but the Moonlight Shadow offers invulnerability to the lack of reveal that Tempest have at their disposal. Roshan still delayed and denied, though. And this dire vision continues to be a nuisance for Affliction. Gets rid of an Observer Ward now at last. Knowing how important it is to fight around the pit.
Alright, so speaking of items here, we do see Parker going for the Sanjin Yasha now, so really struggling with duration of the Rupture. That is probably the only reason he goes for that. They got unlucky and didn't get this liver. That's probably the item he would also choose to deal with the duration of that spell. Unfortunately, Lotus Orb is not always going to be cast on him, because Oscar is frontlining a lot of these fights. Probably a little bit away from Parker. But, yeah, I mean, this CK hero, he farms really fast. But sometimes he struggles with finishing the game, and I feel like this is kind of the opposite for Bloodseeker with the Shard nowadays, and these tanky heroes on Infamous. He scales really beautifully this game.
Oh, he absolutely does. I'm still surprised to see he hasn't brought it up already. Opts to go for that basher first.
Waiting for that second row he wants.
Yeah, maybe so. Hookshot in, finding Cat Yu, knowing that he bought back recently. Soulbind comes, and Drak and Sebas pairing up to try and get out some stuns. But it's Oscar and Parker that are dishing out the real damage. Rolling Thunder pushed away by the Sonic Wave, trying to kill off the CK and does get the job done. Bloodseeker trying to arrive, but he's already died. Getting killed off. He does find Parker, at the very least. The Draken, the only one left standing there.
I mean, definitely advantageous for Infamous, but it's also a scenario where they can't roach because they don't have their CK, which is the bulk of their physical damage. So they're gonna poke at this tower. You know, they're gonna do a decent amount, but I don't think they can really get any barracks. It might just be a tier 3 for Infamous.
Yeah, I guess Timbersaw can tank indefinitely. Queen of Pain, no slouch with the right-click damage. They are pinging out melee barracks, so it looks like they want to try and go for it.
Angle might have to buy back, but I do... Oh, maybe they'll actually get it. You're right.
Yeah, they got a double creep wave that didn't get dealt with right. No glyph on the Dire team to protect. So that will be a melee barracks and probably just the full set. So now it really does come down to that Roshan.
Yeah, you cannot give it away. It's after that fight, it ended up being really good for Infamous. Oh, we do see a pause here. Probably not related to anything about this game. Maybe just a bathroom break.
Man, got to settle himself for the upcoming team fight. Go for a pee break. So you know this one's gonna be an extended one.
Stretch a bit. You actually stretch, Gareth. Like as I grow into this old man, I actually like I'm starting to feel so much pain. Like
yeah, don't.
I just sit down in my chair for 6 hours, and it's like a good chair, and I still feel like awful later.
Yeah, I have to stretch before I go to bed at this point. Like that's how bad it gets. I don't know. I went to the gym a couple of weeks ago, first time in ages, and I did some like minor stretching, but like to do exercise and lifting and like strenuous activity now, I have to do like a proper stretch. I've got to spend 20 minutes warming up my muscles and my ligaments and all that, stretching out. Once you hit 30, your body just gives up, honestly.
It's so bad, man. Like I really felt like people kind of over exaggerated how it felt. Like you're just 30 years old. Like stop complaining. But it really, I'm not sure if it's because I'm a gamer and I'm also like barely active in any shape or form.
It's like also because in our minds we're still 19-year-olds, right?
Maybe. So we're doing like dumb stuff or like not really. But really respecting our bodies.
Yeah, but in the physical world, my body is 33 years old and it's definitely starting to show.
I mean, I've been going to the gym like the last 6 months, but in terms of like being stiff, I still feel really bad. Like I feel better about like physical, like just having more energy. But I really need to get like a good stretching routine because every day after I play a couple of pubs, I don't know how people like stream for 10 freaking hours and feel good after it.
Yeah, me neither.
Maybe they don't feel good.
Especially with the way I sit on my chair. I sit with one leg crossed, but here we go.
Oh,
Roche
yeah,
fight.
me too.
Very important. Roshan's about to die. Bloodright comes in. Aegis taken by Parker as they do Rolling Thunder straight back into them. The backline's caught though. Affliction's found the nice hook shot cogs, but the saving grace there from the Dawnbreaker keeps a couple of them alive. 2 supports down on the Tempest side as Parker slices through the Dawnbreaker now. And 4 heroes lost, with Tempest only having the Bloodseeker sprinting away from the battle. A sign of bad things to come. As Infamous hold Aegis, have 4 alive, and they are beelining it for that top lane of barracks.
Yeah, the saving grace here being the tier 2 on the bottom side, but because they actually killed everyone on Tempest, I'm pretty sure they're gonna poke some tier 4s, see if they can force a buyback or 2. There's only 1 available on Tempest. But yeah, at the end of the day, the Infamous mistakes, they were not too big to really allow Tempest to come back. But I would say that I'm still like feeling, I still feel like the Infamous we saw in the first games of this tour, it's not really there yet. I still feel like they're making too many mistakes.
Rubik just gets annihilated. Pango has to buy back. Still 2 heroes down, a difficult defense to make. You're thrown in a lot of trouble. Sebas, Rolling Thunder Inkswell, catches onto the CK with a good bit of chain stun, but the Queen of Pain blinks in aggressively. Hunting for Kataro, Lincoln's pops out the Rupture, BKB dodges the Rolling Thunder, and goes fountain diving. A bit of fishing there for the Cat-U Grimstroke. Meanwhile, you're thrown, being slapped around. There is no chance of survival now. GG called, and Infamous with a well-deserved win.
Yeah, they really needed to kind of snowball out of the lane stage, and they did just that. Not the crispiest, cleanest game, but still a win nonetheless, and that gives us a game 3, which is what all the viewers want, which is also what I want, so pretty hyped.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, just thinking about the kind of sloppy mistakes that happened in Game 1 and Game 2, you know, Infamous definitely have some cleaning up to do in terms of their late game decision making, but yeah, the lead that they had amassed early on from that laning stage and taking out early Roshan definitely played in their favor. Game 2 ties things up 1-1. So we'll head back to the panel who can start talking about Game 3 coming up in a couple of seconds. Arvo, where are you, Mr. Host Arvo? He's out catching a bit of breakfast, but he's back now as we can pass it over to the panel. Clap for us.
Clap, 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 clap. Thank you so much, Gareth and Bowie, for covering for me. Always, I change seats. Game 2 did not necessarily go the way, definitely not go the way you guys expected. Those lanes got absolutely wrecked. RDO, since you're the resident pessimist, what would you say those lanes happened? Did you feel like you misanalyzed them, or do you think there were some misplays there by Tempest?
Stroke to with Bloodseeker, like it's just not that good, because Bloodseeker is a strong laner if his position 5 is also a strong hero. But they picked a greedy support 5 to lane with a Bloodseeker, and in the end, Bloodseeker lost the lane to Timbersaw, which is not what should have happened.
True. But they lost every lane. Sexy Fat, did you... Is that supposed to happen?
Because we don't see Dawnbreaker losing laning often, then suddenly... I think it was just bad played by them. Yeah.
What about mid? I mean, mid was guaranteed, right? So you needed to win the side lanes. That's what you guys thought. Like Pango needed some space to recover. You feel like the Dawnbreaker lane was one of the biggest issues?
No, for me at least, I think Bloodseeker lane, mostly because of the green stroke, wasn't even bad played. I don't think they had many options to do in top lane, but yeah, I think if they had picked the Bloodseeker against Timbersaw, they needed to manage to win or at least draw the lane. So the game doesn't get that fucked up.
Right. But in the mid game, though, not only did Tempest late recover, but Infamous almost threw in a classic fashion. RDO, does that give him hopes for game number 3? Do you think Tempest is still looking a bit stronger despite the early game?
Yes, they just need to fix their lanes because Infamous is looking a bit shaky for the series. So there's actually a very high chance for Game 3. Will Infamous throw or will Tempest throw?
Or someone might play well. Who knows? That's what I'm hoping for. As we take a small break before Game 3 between Infamous and Tempest. Very, very exciting series. Going to the final game. Winner takes all. Infamous, will they manage to secure the points they need to perhaps go to the major? Tempest, will they take those points away? We're going to have to find out as we take a small break and come back with Game 3. Stay tuned.